Before a single physical blow is struck in a conflict, the battle is often already decided by the scale of the threat. For 40 days, morning and evening, a heavily armored giant steps into the Elah Valley and issues a direct challenge to the army of Israel. And for 40 days, not a single soldier steps forward to accept it. Without a warrior in their ranks who can match his height or his reach, the entire Israelite army freezes. They run the tactical calculations, find a 0% chance of survival, and let fear dictate their reality. When a problem lacks any historical precedence for victory, collective fear renders an entire army completely useless. That kind of absolute paralysis isn't locked away in ancient history. We encounter insurmountable walls in our own lives daily. Today's obstacles take the shape of crushing financial debt, impossible academic expectations, or the looming fear of failure. It is a central, heavy anxiety that expands outward, weighing down every other logical priority. When every rational metric tells you a problem cannot be solved, where exactly do you find the leverage to fight back? The disruption to this standoff comes from a shepherd named David. He walks into the military camp with no rank and no combat training, merely carrying food for his older brothers. When the giant's daily challenge echoes across the valley, the seasoned infantrymen retreat to their tents. David, however, steps forward to listen. They are looking at the same physical threat, but processing two different sets of data. The army is calculating the physical mass of the giant. David is calculating the spiritual mass of God. Breaking a cycle of panic requires injecting a completely external metric into your evaluation of the threat. Inside the command tent, King Saul points out the obvious. David is a teenager volunteering to fight a seasoned executioner. By all conventional military logic, it is a suicide mission. David doesn't counter by boasting about his own bravery. Instead, he zooms out. He points to a timeline of his life, showing historical data of God's protection to prove this current crisis isn't an isolated anomaly. He enters two specific case studies into evidence: a lion attacking his sheep and a bear threatening his flock. In both lethal encounters, he survived. David draws a straight line through that data. If God rescued him from the jaws of apex predators, he is perfectly capable of handling a man in a bronze suit. This empirical proof is so solid that David refuses the king's offer of heavy bronze armor. He leaves the conventional tools behind. This is the framework of faith. It is a calculated confidence that relies on remembering yesterday's victories to dismantle the panic of today's battle. The matchup on the valley floor defies military logic. 9 feet of armor and a massive sword on one side. A teenager with a leather sling and 5 river stones on the other. The giant laughs at the insult. The observing Philistines mock him, while the Israelite lines hold their breath, bracing for the inevitable. But David dictates the engagement. Instead of holding a defensive posture, he sprints directly toward the massive shadow. He drops a stone into the leather pouch, swings it at velocity, and releases. The rock strikes the single unprotected square inch of the giant's forehead. The giant drops to the dirt. The impossible outcome followed a simple logic. David's physical action was fueled by an unshakable, data-backed trust, a confidence that broke the stalemate where traditional force failed. In a matter of seconds, 40 days of absolute paralysis dissolve. The valley is quiet. The threat is neutralized. David used a shepherd's tools, but his victory was rooted in a constant awareness of God's presence. The book of Joshua defines this relationship. Strength and courage are the direct requirements of a single guarantee: that the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. Faith functions as an optical tool. It shrinks the dimensions of your immediate obstacle by magnifying the history of divine intervention. These same mechanics apply to an overwhelming academic workload, a broken budget, or an impending failure. When panic sets in and logic tells you to surrender, stop analyzing the size of the threat. Pull up the historical record of what God has already helped you survive. Let that track record dictate your next move. If He pulled you through the fire before, He can do it again. The giants standing in your valley are imposing, but place them next to the proven greatness of God, and they become insignificant.